Hi, this is Andrea Stokes, and I'm here with Mark Eaton. We are going to take you through the Canvas student experience. As you can see, this is the login page, and Cat Practice has put her username in, and she's put in her password. When you log in, you will immediately be taken to your dashboard, which will show you a news feed of the most recent information that has happened in all of your classes.
And it's pretty cool because it's an aggregation of information that's coming from everywhere, not just all classes, but email or that's been produced outside, within Canvas, as well as announcements and things like that that have been put in Canvas. So,
Oh, Mark, if you'll scroll up, everyone, if you'll look at the second announcement right there, you can see that there is some conversation activity by Mark, and then he can choose to add a message, and this takes you directly into that area. So he can talk with Kat and give her some information. This happens on both the student user end and the faculty end.
yeah, and in this case, we're simulating the student, so the student's posting a message back. But it's good. It's a good point, and we're doing this not in the course, but within our dashboard. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And you can see the variety of the kinds of things that comes in. A green check mark means there's some assignment that's been graded, some kind of conversation activity here, an assignment that's been created and added by the instructor. Here's an example of an announcement, and in this case, the faculty member embedded a YouTube video. So it's all right there where the student can see all the activity that's happening.
The other thing that I'd like to draw your attention to is the right-hand side of the page where you have the to-do, the coming up, and the recent feedback. This takes the student and the faculty member through what's going to be available for them as far as what's coming up, what do they need to prepare for, are there particular things that are due and what are the due dates. The other really nice thing is that calendar view.
Which is an aggregated view, again, of all the courses or collaboration teams and even the student's personal calendar, all overlaid on top. And we know that the calendar can also serve as a feed, and that feed can go to like Outlook or Google Calendar or something like that. So this is a way that a student can actually see everything that's happening across all their courses and any other kinds of events. For example, Andrea, as you know, we talked about perhaps adding a university calendar here that student services and other folks could put some information into. So that'll all be right there for the student to see. It's pretty cool.
Which is a really nice thing. The other thing that you can note is if you would like to simply see what is it that Kat put on her calendar and get rid of everything, she can go through and she can get rid of the other calendars so that it just simply shows hers. And so you can see that that Kat Stansberry,
and it's color coded.
right, is the focus of fitness, and that would be green.
Well, let's also take a look. I mean, so right off the bat, what this all means is that the student has this aggregation of information that's just flowing in from all different kinds of sources, as well as a calendar that should really help them with their time management. But let's talk a little bit about the settings and notifications that they can do, as well as faculty can do, any user within the system. So I'll click on settings, and you can see here that Kat has set up a personal email address in addition to the Avila email address. The student could also, if they wish, add their cell phone number and identify that for text messaging and register that into the system, as well as add any of these personal services that they may use. In this case, Kat's got a Facebook account that she's moved over there.
And one of the things I know, Mark, is that in my classes, I ask my students to use Google Docs a lot or Google Drive. And so this would be something where in my syllabus, I would ask my students on the first day of class to please make sure that they add the service of Google Docs so that when they're in Canvas, they can immediately go and grab that information.
Yeah, and that's very helpful because if a group of students would like to do a collaborative event within a shared document, they will not have to go to Google to do that. They can do it directly from Canvas once they've registered their personal services.
Do you want to take us up and show us about notifications?
Yeah, so once these services are registered, and if any of these services has secure communications, then all of that will show up here in the contacts list. So you can see we've got Facebook, we've got a personal email account, and we've got the AVLA email account. So when going to settings, then settings will produce sort of a spreadsheet view of all the things that the student can set up alerts for, and we'll put a column up here for each of these registered services. So in this case, the student is saying, hey, if I get any announcements, I want to know about that as soon as possible through my Facebook account. But if it's a grade, just send it to me through my AVLA account. And they can make these decisions across all of this criteria.
Now, one of the things that you may want to think about when talking with your students, are there certain things that you are going to expect them to check, and when do you expect them to check it? So one of the things that I think about a lot, if I have discussion boards in my class, I want my students not to check that weekly. I want to make sure that they either are notified ASAP or they're notified daily. So I may stipulate that in my class, which will then let them know wherever they would like to get the information. Maybe they want the information on Facebook, maybe they want it sent to their personal email address, but the point then is that they know every day when someone has commented on the discussion board. I think the other thing that I definitely am going to include in my class is the announcement. I want my students to have that on ASAP so that if something happens, whether it's a weather issue, whether it's I fall down a flight of stairs and can't make it to class, or if it's simply that I want to make sure that the students have a clarification on an assignment, that I know that they're getting that as soon as they can.
The kind of decisions they can make for each of these is to either be notified immediately, or they can just simply ask for a daily summary that would come by email, let's say, or even a weekly summary, or nothing at all. So initially the students will have at least their AVLA email address, and all of these things will be set by default, but then students will manage how they want to receive information. And to me, that takes the burden off the faculty member. If the teacher has to get the word out that there's been a scheduling change or something like that, they no longer have to worry about trying to send it through MyAU, trying to use some list that they created with personal email addresses or even AVLA. They just simply put it in Canvas, and Canvas will handle it according to the preferences of the student.
And just to reiterate, if the students choose to use Facebook, Twitter, Diigo, any of those outside sources, the information will be sent to the secure part of that particular application. So nothing is going to be out there. You don't have to worry about FERPA. There will be nothing posted on anybody's wall or sent out through a tweet to the mass public.
And that's definitely our understanding. And so let's take a look at a couple other aggregated things. So if I put my cursor up here, I can actually drill down to a specific assignment or a specific course. But if I just click up here, for example, in assignments, then like the calendar, I'm now back at the dashboard. This student's getting an aggregated view of all their assignments across all their courses, as you see over here, again color-coded. So you can see that there's an upcoming assignment that's actually due today, a final exam, and some past assignments they've already created, as well as a category for overdue assignments. If they're late on anything, that's going to show up in this list, that they're late on their assignment. And then if they drill down to a specific assignment, I just picked this one, and okay, now they're in the course, and you're in the course because you have all these navigation items over here on the left now.
And the course ID number, which is up at the top, so you can see Biology 111, and it's the second section.
Yeah, and that's important because, for example, you have grades here, and you also have grades up here. And the difference is this is the dashboard. It's the aggregated view across all courses. This takes them to their grades within a specific course. But when they first come in the course, they have the ability to go to their activity stream that's just around that course. So some of these things that you see here, we saw at the very beginning on their dashboard, but a lot of it's been filtered out now because we're down to a very specific course. And let me check grades, and let's see what we have here. So this is kind of interesting because you can see that the student has already made some grades, and the student is right now heading for a C for the course. They have not yet completed the final exam. So one of the cool features in this thing is they can start doing these what-if analysis. So if they make 100 on this thing, what will their final grade be? It's going to be a B. So they've kind of blown it on making an A already, right? They might want to try to, if making 100 is probably unrealistic, they may want to play around with that a little bit to try to figure out you know, how well they have to do. And then if for those graded assignments, they have icons that show up here, and if there was a rubric for a particular icon, they can click that and see the rubric and see how they were scored out, and they can see what points they got. We're going to check with Instructure because I think this should be color-coded, but you get the idea. They can do that. They can get other kinds of comment information that may have been provided by the faculty member, as well as video feedback. So it's pretty cool. What else can we say about the experience that the student has?
Well, I think one of the things that we need to note is up in the upper right hand where it has Kat's name, there's also the inbox. This is an email that's within Canvas. The nice thing is that as information is sent back and forth between the instructors and the student, anytime that happens, it doesn't just sit in this box. Once again, it's pushed out to those notifications. So if the student says, hey, anytime I get communication from an instructor, I want that ASAP and I want it to show up on my Facebook, then that will go straight to their Facebook and they'll know that it's sitting. So they don't necessarily have to be in Canvas to know that they have information sitting in their inbox.
I mean, here's a great example. The feedback that, or the response that Kat made at the very beginning of this video that we're producing right now has also shown up right here in their inbox. So it does show up in multiple places. So that's pretty powerful. And not only does it show up here and it shows up in their activity stream, but depending on their settings and notifications, they may have gotten it on their iPhone or something like that. So there really is this opportunity to push out a lot of information to the students.
I think the only other thing that I would like to show, and we can do it here, Mark, in the inbox, but this is something that can also be done if the professors set it up this way, is that students can not only attach something, but they can record something.
Okay.
So I thought maybe we could go ahead and just show what it would be like if a student wanted to record an email.
Okay, so when that feature is available in the inbox or in an assignment, there's a record link. So when they click the record link, it will bring up a dialog box that is requesting permission to activate the web camera. Now, we currently don't have a web camera hooked up right now, so if I allow it, you know, we won't actually see an image here. But the main thing is it's a single click, brings this up, I allow it, I immediately start talking into the webcam, and then I do a one-button click and it instantly uploads it and sends it out to whoever I intended it to go to.
Exactly, but let's say they didn't want to do that. Let's say instead what they wanted to do was the professor had said something to them about, you know, I thought you were going to include a YouTube video that you made and you didn't turn that in. You can see if you click on the upload media that instead of recording, you can now go in and you can either select an audio file that's already been created or you can select a video file that you've already saved, and that will also attach it for you.
Pretty cool. Okay, so that's, I think, it's just a 5-minute quick view of the kind of experience that we think our students will have probably by fall of next year. This will really become probably the tool of choice that they use to gather information across all their courses, as well as institutional information that we may push out from administration or other, you know, campus offices. Campus ministry, for example, will be creating some leadership courses for their purposes. So it's a great tool for bringing all that information into focus, and iPhones can use
Right, iPhones
apps.
and iPads can use apps. They're working on an Android, and I guess I just want to end with maybe that question that might be floating in your brain. So how are the students going to learn how to use this? Mark and I are planning on creating student training opportunities for students. So this is not something that will fall on professors or any staff that use this. This will be something that will be provided. We're glad that you joined us. Hope this was helpful.